This is Desiree Churchman with week number 3 assignment for class 6102. Analysis and case and recommended a treatment plan for schizophrenia spectrum disorder. And within this spectrum disorder and treatment, I believe that I'm diagnosing the client with is schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is defined as a brain disorder which is usually treated by medication and having a strong family and community-based support system to help the individual recover. And that is from McFarland W.R., Dixon L., Lucan E., and Luster A. 2003. The client, Ephraim, indicates signs of schizophrenia according to the DSM number 5 at the rate of delusions, which is he's believing that he is being attacked or he is very fearful. He also looks at things of religion purposes for, spirits and things that his parents believe in, or he doesn't believe that he's that spiritual. Also, he's also having symptoms of persecutory delusions, and that is basically where he believes that he's going to be harmed by someone or a group of people. So with those two diagnoses from the DSM-5, his characterization and body language and demeanor is actually stating that he's not really making eye contact. He's kind of fidgety. He's very nervous. He is looking at different things around the room. He is trying to figure out if he's still under surveillance, if he's is something in the room that's going to bring some type of harm to him. He's very scared. Also, he is working towards something within his life that he keeps repeating consistently of being normal. He wants to have a normal life and go back to where things were normal. Also, understanding that schizophrenia only lasts for at least 6 months. And that is if the patient is getting help with the treatment, as well as making sure that the treatment plan that the patient is placed upon has been actually working for that patient. And in absence, or if anything starts declining within that function, that even helps the symptoms to go away even quicker. One thing that I did notice with Ephraim was that he just started the medication, and he's believing that there's nothing absolutely wrong with him. He's talking more of his parents want him to do this, and his parents are telling other people that he's having this issue, or he is afraid of what's going on, and he feels like he has a comfort of him being in his room, and staying in his room gives him security, as well as hearing things, voices within his mind. Some of the voices he likes, particularly his grandmother, that he is very fond of and adore, but she has passed away recently. So he still has that security blanket that he's holding on with that. And he says some of the voices are discouraging. Some of the voices makes him feel less than. Like if he's taking a test and the voices tell him that he didn't succeed last time, so he won't succeed this time. So with those things being very present within the very first few minutes of the conversation with Ephraim, is indicating that he's suffering from schizophrenia. And we want to make sure that we're getting him treated quickly, so that some of these symptoms can fade away. And then even though schizophrenia can occur and be able to be followed by by at least 2 weeks of delusions and hallucinations without any prominent mood symptoms. So we have to watch for that with Ephraim as well, which we already know some delusions of him hearing the voices within him are being harmed, some of them are being very negative towards him or making him feel fearful for his life. So we want to make sure that we're watching for that. And Ephraim has already experienced that, maybe he would talk about it within the session even more by setting up these parameters and safety things that he feels like if he comes in here, I need to feel safe with this particular person to be able to open up with this particular person. So within this treatment plan that I would definitely work with Ethan on is a solution focused therapy. And the solution focused therapy is basically we are focusing on our goals, focusing on Ephraim's goals, focusing on what he's trying to accomplish, focusing on more of, what he sees in the future versus anything that has, been in the past, or anything that he is working towards is what we're going to be really putting our aim at. All the past things that might have happening or has happened to him or through him, we might touch on it a little bit if he wants. That's the great thing about solution focused therapy is if the client wants to talk about it, because we are putting the client in the place of an expert, as well as I'm using expertise to help guide the conversation, or like giving him a little ways to lead in this conversation. But Ephraim is the expert because he knows himself. He knows exactly what he wants and what the things that he is going through. So if he doesn't want to talk about some things that are in the past, we would not talk about those things. I would definitely focus on actually asking him what are some things that he would like to accomplish, and start that off, and then kind of ask him what brought him into the office today. Ask questions along those lines where they're not demanding questions or direct questions, but they're open-ended questions where the client can share if he wants, or, lead the conversation into a different direction. For him to be able to be comfortable within this setting, basically based off of the diagnosis that I have saw in this particular video with Ephraim. Working with Ephraim, I would definitely look at if my treatment plan that I'm putting in place is actually working. And if this treatment plan is not working the way that it needs to work, then definitely collaborating with other people that can help with medication, that can help with psychology or psychiatric treatment care for him, and then being able to introduce him to those people in a comfortable way for him, that he wouldn't, feel like he's being betrayed, like he's felt with his parents. Listening to Ephraim talk about like his mother shares with his aunt, or how the dad might kind of, nudge him to go a different direction. So we would definitely set up one-on-one sessions, and then slowly introduce these other people into the program to help Ephraim move closer to his goals that he is actually trying to accomplish. One of the things in solution focus plan is talking about the interventions. And those interventions are very unique in the aspect of asking certain questions in a certain way. So when Ephraim comes in and he's talking about, he doesn't really want to take these medicines, and he believed that if he doesn't take the medicine, his parents would be upset. And mainly that negative energy is coming from the father, where the father is asking him why he don't take the medicine, and it's money that he's spending, and he's just wasting money. So Ephraim would be upset with that because he feels like his father is not really understanding where he's coming from, or understand him as a individual or as a person. So one of the questions that I would propose to Ephraim is miracle question. And this miracle question is in the morning when you wake up, all of your fears, all of the voices, all of the things that your parents might have said to you or done to you, if they all go away the very next morning you wake up, what would you do? How would you feel? What would be your reaction? And get Ethan talking in that aspect of how he would see this miracle, which would be actually a solution that we can work towards, or a possible solution we can work towards, because now he's moving away from the problem and seeing more of the goal and the solution that is before him. Understanding a strong family system or support system, either within his family or his community, which would be the school, to come in and help him stay on track for these goals. So having that one question being presented to him would be really, really good. And it would be in a way of, telling Ethan, hey, let's look at this. You woke up the next morning and all those problems are gone away, or all those things that you were experiencing has gone away. What would you do now? Explain that, share that with me. Also, another question that I would propose to Ethan is a scaling question. And this scaling question is really based upon, a 0 to 10 scale. Asking Ephraim, on 0 to 10, how would that make you feel? Or 0 to 10, what would that look like? What do you want that to look like? With 10 being, creating something for him so that he would be comfortable with sharing, as well as 0 being, not so great. Like, you really wouldn't like that much. The other thing that I really believe that is the foundation of solution focus that I believe that will work great with Ethan is because this is change in constant uncertainty, that it is not consistent, and it might go one way versus going another way. Also, we're really focusing on the possibility of changing, and understanding that change is very possible here. If everyone keeps doing the medicine and he keeps having a strong community and family support, he'll be able to move forward and be able to become even more towards his goals that he was wanting, the things that he really wanted to do. Also, I have to understand that Ephraim has to want that change. It can't be something that is just I'm wanting for him, or his parents wanting for him, or any of the other doctors. Maybe they're the ones that he experienced in the hospital, and all of the nurses, and even any other psychologists or psychiatrists that he may have seen prior to coming to my office, that he has to want that change. And listening to Ephraim and in his body language, it sounds like he does to a point, but he does not want to lose his grandmother. He keeps referring back to his grandmother in a way of, I love hearing her voice. She makes me feel great, and she encourages me, and I like that encouragement that she gives me. So how can we move even more in a way of, you still have your grandmother and you still can experience her, but experience her in a different way, and making sure that he doesn't feel, bad about what he is doing, and having those things set up in a way that he's excited about. Also, another thing with solution-based therapy is the client are the experts in this. So Ethan would be the expert in this, because he would move through this in a way of setting up realistic goals for himself. He would actually say, you know what, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to study and I'm going to master, just getting out of bed and going to the classroom and getting there on time and listening to the instructor, and then being able to come back home. Simple goals like that may seem simple to someone else, but for him it would be a major step. And then getting back onto a schedule of getting back to work, maybe one day out of the week, maybe just a couple of hours out of the week, but those are realistic goals that he would be able to accomplish, and not be able to be disappointed if he did not reach one of those goals. These goals is for him to reach and be able to continuously to build from those goals. The other thing is having those resources and strengths to help him solve the problem. So we already know what some of the resources would be, which would be the community support as well as family support. And those strengths to help him move forward will be very good. And him developing that relationship back with his parents would be very good. Also, therapy for this particular plan is very short term. Now, it could last maybe 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, but it's a very short lived treatment. And that's why I would have to definitely reevaluate the treatment plan at a particular time, because I would want to make sure that Ephraim is still moving in a positive direction and having schizophrenia either under control or completely gone. So we want to be able for him not to have to even operate in that aspect anymore. The other thing that I would like to focus on, it's not really focused on, but being able to have the client's history not be such a major part of this, that he does not have to talk about his past. And I know even in some of the videos, the video that I watched, that Ephraim did, the therapist did ask Ephraim about his culture and gave it such a broad opening of what culture is for him, not for what someone else may think, but for him. And I think that's very important. Now, if Ephraim would like to talk about some of his history, that is fine, to help us to build more goals for him to reach, versus me just diving right into his past that would have led him to this place. So the last thing is focusing on the details of the solution. I think this is very important. Focusing on the details of the solution and not the problem. And this is with the focus solution-based therapy. Is not focusing on the problem, but focusing on that solution. And if we can get Ephraim to focus on the solution of having strong support and reaching the goals that he wants to do, and referring to his wanting to live a normal life, so we would just build off of that, living on a normal life. Also, the one other thing would be for Ephraim is to be able to understand what his behavior, and not really calling it a behavior, but being able to use family therapy in a way to build him in his family, to make the family system strong and supportive, and to overcome those challenges of anything that is attacked, that is within their family. And just having a strong and healthy, overcoming those circumstances as a family is exactly what we're trying to do within a family therapy based treatment. And he would benefit from this because he is very family oriented, and he would really adapt to moving in a great direction. My references for this is my references are the DSM library, as well as McFarland, W.R. Dixon, L. Lukens, E. and Lusterstead, A. 2003. And those are my two. Oh, and it's from Family Psychoeducation and Schizophrenia. A review of the lecture is the reference that I use, as well as Understanding Schizophrenia, Marsha D.T. 2001.